It's just me and me, on my, if you prefer, in my shed with my iPods. I can do code switching, but it's always the personal pronouns that catch me out. Let's start again. It's me in my shed with my iPod problem and several problems, a bit of a mishmash today. One of which is I'm going to do like an endorsement or something, and it's kind of obligatory to say that I'm not sponsored by these people, like they'd sponsor some random bloke ranting away in his shed. But I've just bought a tub of headlight restorer, which is apparently pretty good for cleaning up iPods. I tried a couple yesterday. I've got a couple. I've got a 4th gen that looks a bit grubby, and not too bad looking 3rd gen really. But I'm just going to see if it works. Put a little bit. I have tried this yesterday. I was quite pleased with it, to be honest with you. So to see if it works, bit it's a bit of false advertising, but I'm going to just put a bit on there. I'm guessing because it's headlight restorer that it'll be alright on the front as well. So I'm going to, what the hell, just put it on. It's probably too much, but I'm going to see if that brings this up to life. I don't know if I've discussed this guy at all, but I've said before, I've got a 2nd gen in the garage waiting for me to come and talk about it, but I've just wiped that about with that. I'll not do the other ones, but I'll leave that to dry for a bit. I am not sponsored by these people, but yeah, I read it somewhere on the internet and it seemed like a good idea. I want to talk a little bit about iPod cradles or docks, but I want to say cradles because docks to me often have an ulterior purpose of having speakers and playing music. But I've just found out, I've been on Reddit and found out that there were 20 different ones of these. So I'm going to look at a few. It's not exactly a sexy topic to talk about, but I will move on to something a bit better later. This, apparently the first one didn't have an IR and remote control thing. This one does. It's come with this, although this might actually for another one. This is a remote which doesn't operate like it should do. Bit mucky. It's got a line out 30-pin plug and an S video, such as you might find on an old camcorder or something. I can't, in the modern world, think of a use for that, to be honest with you. I'm racking my brains, but so that one's that. I've got one here which I think it's dispensed with the S video. It's still got 30 pins, got a line out. Doesn't look to have a IR port, but I'm pretty sure I used this and it did work the remote. I've got another one like that that's not working the remote setup, which I'll show you in a bit. I've also got like a generic pure, which I've had for ages. You can see the state of it, which again has just got it's got power in, so I use this for charging iPods mostly. That's got a remote IR sensor, but I don't have a remote for it. This is normally plugged in inside and charging one iPod or another. I also was digging around, just found this thing, which purports to be for iPads. I guess in the days when iPads still use a 30-pin adapter, card reader really. And I think in their illustration it's there to shift photos from a phone to an iPad, if that's your thing. I don't know if it's compatible with an iPod. I haven't tried it. One of these days I will get it out and have a play. I suspect not. And again, it's not something I can think of a purpose for at the moment. Now, I was very excited recently talking about my iPod that I bought as dead. When I resurrected it, it turned out to be full of movies. So I talked about this AV cable. I've just bought an AV kit which consisted of a cable like this with your red, yellow, if you can get them, and get all three of them inside so you can see them. Yellow, that's probably red, that's probably yellow. Which will, you can either fit these into a SCART socket that some SCARTs have, you can plug these in and use a SCART to plug into toilet, or with older tellies, you can plug them directly into the television, which is what I'm going to show you in a minute, because I want to get maximum use out of the iPod with the films on it. My wife's very keen for us to get a new telly because it's got a line through the middle of it, but I haven't told her why I don't really want to, but it's because the new tellies won't have those red, yellow and white sockets in it. One of the things I think about them, I don't know it's the design of our telly, but they kind of go up into the television, so when you're pulling them you're almost tugging on the wire. It's very hard to, these are kind of, they don't grip, so I'm worried about pulling the wire out, but I don't know if that's going to be an issue. Shall we do this, guy? Let's, before I go on to anything complicated, because I'm going to attempt to use a second camera for filming filming a film, if you want. Oh, Richard, no, it's not Richard. I was going to say, I was going to use Four Weddings and a Funeral, but I remembered that the opening sequence has got more F-bombs than any film in history, so Hugh Grant swearing his head off when they're late for the wedding. I think that's probably had a better effect on the front than on the back, but there's quite a lot of dirt on the cloth. I think they really need a couple of goes for the full effect, but that's already looking better than it did. So buy a headlight, restore it if you want, don't if you don't. I've also took the plunge and bought a faulty Nano 7, which I'll save for another time, but I don't know, it feels a bit light in the hand to me. I think the it's also not got a 30-pin plug, it's got the first one with the lightning. So I suppose that if you're going to have something light and floppy like this, you might as well get a phone, really. I don't know. I'll spend more time on it. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep recording there, give you something interesting to look at. Nice little third gen to look at. And I'm just going to go behind my head. I'm going to try to get my precariously balanced phone, which has clearly turned itself off, which means that I'll have to move it to turn it back on again, which means that the delicately balanced videoing capability has now been removed, and I'll have to balance it again to point it at the TV. Now, I had lots of fun with the there we go. I had lots of fun in the house looking at films. This is the dock. You can see that this is the film. This TV doesn't have a remote, but it does, and I'm really grateful for this, have one of these little things at the back where you can select the AV, which it was on already. So if you go to AV and press play, it apparently says it's going to play Braveheart, and there is no signal. Pretty much is a signal, and there it is. Now, as I said, I've got two remotes with this AV kit, and I think I brought in the one that doesn't work rather than the one that does. But look, there's Bell in all his glory. Fair use, guys. That was just a bit. That's nothing too copyright infringing. That's a second AV cable just into this. And again, the difference with the remote is, I mean, what you could do is just plug plug this into the iPod and then just hold it in your hand. This just means you can put it out of sight, sit back and relax and watch the film. And as I say, I started Braveheart again, but I watched, there's Four Weddings and a Funeral, watched a goodly chunk of Batman Begins the other day. So there we go, that's the AV kit. There we go, that's the AV kit. That's the AV kit. There we go, that's the AV kit. It looks a bit like that. It's another adapter. This one's got it's a later model with a smaller AV port. They've got rid of the S-video. They've just got a line out. Doesn't have a power. I think I would like power, which is why I use my pure. But who was to know there are 20 of these things kicking about in various manifestations. If I remember, I'll stick the link to the Reddit article in which I found that out in the comments, and if I don't remember, then I didn't remember. Sorry about that. Quick shout out for Bluetooth adapters, and I brought a Bluetooth receiver which plugs into the dock, and everything's gravy. That's just, what can I say? More on that later anyway. Thanks for listening. Enjoy your life and enjoy your music. Subscribe if you want. I do like to hear from you. And till next time, all the best. Love you lots. Bye bye.